This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1161, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And from LA, you know him from Social Club Misfits, it's Marty.
As I live and breathe.
No.
Still trying that one out.
Yeah.
You're getting closer. You're circling it.
I saw a Western. Yeah, I saw.
You know, a lot of people probably realize this, but we record, as Cameron denotes in the intro, from different locations. And we use a product called Riverside, but it's not too dissimilar, you know, with basic functionality from like Zoom or Google Hangouts or whatever, you know, people are doing. So obviously, since the pandemic, these have become just a part of our lives, these type of video chat platforms, you know. And we were just talking prior to you joining us, Marty, that the one we use has a new background feature. Where you can do custom backgrounds. I'm curious on thoughts on this because I'm in, like everyone, you know, I don't say everyone, but like a lot of people, I'm in and out of these type of calls all day, all week long. And people that I am colleagues with, people that I talk to regularly, but also people that are just out there in the wild that are strangers working in parts unknown, that it's like, oh, hey, this potential business person, partner, or this collaborator, whoever it is. Right. And I judge their character not by their actual backgrounds, because I don't care about people's actual backgrounds. If you're working from home, what do I expect? And most people just look like it's in a room in their house, and probably a quiet one. I don't really care. I don't really put that much thought into it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I did one time, I was in a serious business call, and a shirtless man in a towel walked by and then walked back by with a laundry basket. And it was apparent that this person was recording like in their basement laundry room space, you know? But usually I'm not too concerned about the real life backgrounds. But when somebody does a custom background, it's a choice. It is a choice. And I like ones. It's one thing if they're in like a space station or something that's like whimsical, or like or like Don Draper's office or something, like something that's recognizable.
Yeah, that has to make sense.
That was fun. But when I feel like people are trying to trick me, when they do like something that looks like off the showroom floor from like a fake IKEA room that's a little too nice, or like, do you guys get a vibe when people do like realistic home backgrounds that are probably just nicer than their home?
That's a big deal on TikTok. I know that you're not on TikTok, Jesse, but a lot of the like
he's on TikTok as a viewer.
Yeah, as a viewer.
I do a lot of trolling.
A silent viewer.
Yeah.
If you ever go to like the lives, you could change your background. And so,
did you say? I think lurker and creeper are a little bit different, but continue, Marty.
Lurker is a good version of creeper. You know, they got a bad name, but so on live, you could put a background. And so recently, there was a guy he's like a guru, and he was selling his course, and it really looked realistic.
Yeah.
Until something happened. He moved. Someone got in the photo, and it just removed it. And you see him in this like he looked like he was in the projects, like. It looked bad. It looked like he was in the home from like Family Matters. Everything was still brown and like, you know, it had like a yellow film to it. It was different than his Miami, you know, beautiful high-rise apartment. So, you know, scammers beware. It's over for you.
It's a red flag. I'm just giving it out there.
Big red flag.
Look, I mean, we're coming. This is a lot of people are graduating from college in the next couple of weeks, and they're going to be preparing for job interviews, right? I'm just giving you a piece of advice. If you want to do the actual Family Matters living room, that's funny. Do it. But don't do a fake house. That's a red flag.
I had one that I used to use on Zoom where you could do a looping video. Do you remember that? You could do a looping video?
Oh, yeah.
The looping video was me walking up behind myself with a knife, going to like attack me. And then it would just like loop again. And it just looked like someone was coming.
So that's in the background. Like, well, it's like you're trying to stab yourself?
Yeah, it was like me creeping up behind me like this, and then I'd come out of camera, and then it's like me loop. It was a loop of that, and they didn't like that. In like the meeting that I took, they didn't really like that too much. So
I hope it was like with like a super professional meeting with like a label executive or something.
I think it was with Compassion, believe it or not. They wanted me to speak, and I thought it'd be like a funny thing, but I didn't know that everyone in the meeting was going to be over 40, 50, 60, 70. And I happened to be the only young person. So they were like, they thought it was like real. They're like, what's going on? And I was like, I should have read the room. I read the room like a fifth grader. Dang it.
You do either whimsical or just go at your own house. You know, I just feel like it's more honest, you know?
Yeah.
Do you guys have feelings about this?
Not strong ones.
I love that. Not strong ones. Not.
I do remember because
not
like my background, I recently like a couple months ago, I like flipped my desk around, and so I'm still in the same room I'd always been in, but you could see a different side, and you can now see the side with a lot more art. And I remember the first staff meeting we had. I remember like Cameron was like, I literally am seeing a whole new side of you, because it's like you see what my house is like, what my home is.
Well,
and
she previously was
closer.
she was sitting a foot away from a wall, so it looked like she was in a jail cell. That's all we knew of her. And now we're like, oh, look at her lovely environment. She has taste.
He thought I was in jail.
That's why he kept giving me raises.
I wasn't.
He was like, you know what? Let's give Emily a raise. She looks like she could use a warm meal. She looks like she's in a.
But again, there's an intimacy.
Apartment.
There's that intimacy of being in a corner of someone's home. But like, I was on a call one time, and it was like a fake Restoration Hardware type of vibe, you know. And I knew the person, and I complimented. I was like, "Dude, your house actually looks really great." He's like, "Oh, thanks. It's a filter." I was like, I felt so betrayed.
Deceived.
So betrayed.
There's
you know?
some that offend me. Like, don't be on a boat in the middle of a meeting. Like, don't have the background of a yacht. I don't know why. Like,
I don't know.
One that
I like
saw
that.
where they're on the ocean. I'm like, what? That makes me feel like you're not taking this serious. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, if you're in Jerry Seinfeld's apartment, oh, I see what you did there. Cool.
Yeah, I get it. But you know, if you're if the background is the Twin Towers, that's going to offend some
Right.
people.
Okay.
Moving the show along.
Speaking of Towers, Gateway Worship is joining us. I don't know. Towers, Gateway. Gateway Worship has a new album coming out. They join us. At the end of the show, I'm excited about this. We have a game. Emily mentioned a couple of weeks ago some of the unhinged dating profiles, dating prompts that she has come across in the dating app world. We made a game about it called Unhinged Dating Profiles. I'll explain later. You don't want to miss that. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it Slices. You're listening to Justice and Tame Impala. The song is Never Ender. All right, it's time for
Slices.
What do you have, Jesse?
All right. There's a great podcast that I listen to somewhat frequently, The Town with Matthew Bellamy. It's on the Ringer podcast network, and it covers.
Isn't that a movie with Ben Affleck?
It is. That's actually that movie holds up. By the way,
I just watched it yesterday.
Wait, what is it about?
It's about bank robbers with Jeremy Renner.
90% of all the bank robbers in all of Boston are from one block, and it's about that block.
Yeah.
Is this a documentary? Or?
No, it's an incredible scripted film with Jeremy Renner, where other than Heat, it's probably the best bank robbery movie. I saw it on a plane recently again. I was like, wow, this really does.
You just hit something in my mind. That is really, Heat and this movie are great. Now I'm going to go after this podcast and make a whole list of my favorite bank robbery type movies.
Wait, Ocean's 11 has to be on there.
It doesn't have the grit. This one has shirtless young Ben Affleck doing pull-ups, getting ready for a heist. Okay, aside. Marty, here. Okay, real quick.
Sorry.
I would love to do a heist movie. Like if someone said, "Hey, I'm not a screenwriter. I have no intention of pursuing that." But if they said, "Look, man, you have to write a movie. What's the genre?" It would no question be bank robber, because you get the muscle, the getaway guy, the hacker, like the inside
I'm in the
person.
mainframe. I'm in the mainframe.
Ocean's 11.
I'm describing all of them.
It's like a pretty version. I mean, Ocean's 11's like Casino. This is like a little bit more realistic. Like, they're not robbing a casino. They're robbing like banks, and they're hurting. You know, they actually rob Fenway.
Yeah,
sure.
But like let's go like a Point Break, which really rode that line. You know what I mean? There's a lot of directions we can go here. Anyway, I would love to make one. The Town still holds up. Anyway, The Town podcast covers the media industry, and they recently had on screenwriter Aaron Sorkin, who the kind of conversation rolled around to his relationship with Mark Zuckerberg, which he has none. But during that conversation, it was revealed that Aaron Sorkin is actually making a sequel to arguably his most successful movie, at least critically, which is The Social Network, which told the story of the birth of Facebook. He wrote it. He didn't direct it, but he did write the screenplay. And on that podcast, he revealed that he is working actively on a sequel, which will look at Mark Zuckerberg's role in the January 6th violence during the presidential.
You're towing a line right now. You're not trying to use words on
the
one
insurgency
side.
at the Capitol.
Okay.
He's trying to be nice about
the
it.
gathering that happened on the day when the
I said
thing.
the violence. I said the violence. I mean,
The big tour group that got
riot.
it. Yeah.
The riot where crazy people tried to overthrow undermine the election results
And hang Mike Pence. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
now I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
that
okay.
January
Tour group.
6th incident.
Yeah,
I was thinking of another January 6th incident that ended much more civilly at a local Target by me. No, obviously, I don't feel like I need to qualify. Everyone would watch it on TV. But, his take is that Mark Zuckerberg personally holds some degree of responsibility for what transpired that day. He said, this is a quote that he said in that algorithm. Facebook has been, among other things, tuning its algorithm to promote the most divisive material possible, because that's what will increase engagement. That is what will get you what they call inside the hallways of Facebook the infinite scroll. So, essentially he's saying that because these social media algorithms feed sort of the worst human impulses, which are anger and hostility or confirmation bias at the expense of being exposed to ideas that may challenge misinformation, that it has led to sort of this splintering effect that ultimately when it comes to like real world action can cause events like January 6th. Now, he does have a point. The Wall Street Journal not that long ago released a series of, I believe it was 11 articles that were called the Facebook Files, based on whistleblower reports that were released by a former or algorithm expert at the company named Francis Haugen. And in those reports, it actually talks about this, how they would tweak their algorithm to try to increase engagement. But when it was brought to the attention of leadership that people were getting more hostile, sharing more disinformation, and making Facebook a much angrier place, Mark Zuckerberg personally said, don't change it back, because it could affect, overall engagement. Sorkin said this in the interview. There is supposed to be a constant tension at Facebook between growth and integrity. There isn't. It's just growth. So if Mark Zuckerberg woke up tomorrow and realized that there is nothing you can buy for 120 million that you can't buy at 119, so how about if I make a little bit of money, I will tune up integrity and tune down growth? Yes, you can do that by honestly switching a 1 or a 0 or a 0 to a 1. But his implication is they'll never do that. They'll always prioritize growth and engagement over what Aaron Sorkin alleges is truth and integrity. I feel like it's a really compelling sequel to The Social Network for two reasons. One, The Social Network is a really great movie, just as a piece of cinema.
Yeah.
But two, it accurately diagnosed sort of the social conditions of the era in which it depicts. It shows how this socially kind of awkward, isolated college student mixed his social insecurities with ambition to create what we now know as social media. And I think when you look at insecurity and ambition.
Well, MySpace did exist when Facebook came off the back of Friendster. I mean, it existed. But
well, I'll say this, but it didn't exist at the level that Facebook took it to. Like,
of course,
I think that, and I think it's because Zuckerberg injected those two things, which was insecurity. He was depicted as this insecure college student who looked at this as a way to get himself into the fans groups he wanted, and just, unbridled ambition. He would grow this thing at all costs, even if it was the friendships that he so wanted. It was a very interesting diagnosis of the state of the culture at the time, where I think this movie will too.
Sorkin can bring this to light and make people think about the moral obligation that some of these very powerful companies have to the greater good and society and things like that. But Facebook had their earnings call this week. And as a corporation, their only job in their view is to drive shareholder profit. And so they talked about, we're investing in this, we're investing in that. We had record-breaking revenue. We beat we beat our quarterly expectations, all this kind of stuff. But they were saying, like, we're gonna do XYZ coming forward. And the shareholders didn't like what they heard because it wasn't immediate short-term profit as the priority. Like Zuckerberg was talking about some longer-term AI investments, things like that. And their share prices dropped 20% right after the call saying, we just had record-breaking quarterly profit. And it's like, that's the issue that Sorkin probably doesn't think about, is Zuckerberg isn't thinking about right or wrong. He's literally going, if I don't deliver growth every quarter, profit every quarter, I can't do anything to tweak an algorithm that might mean 2% less engagement, because then we're going to get slaughtered at our earnings call. I mean, that's all he's thinking about. And so it's like, what is the integrity expectations of corporations who solely exist to drive shareholder profit?
Yeah.
How can we ask them to do anything other than that? Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm saying that's the system,
Yeah, for sure.
It's not
That's
Facebook. It's everybody.
Capitalism.
It's every capitalistic corporation.
It's Boeing, right? It's Boeing pivoting from expensive engineers to robots and executives who value cost cutting, because cost cutting equals profit growth, and profit growth means increase in shareholder value, right? So and that's why that's the second reason I think this film is interesting, not just because it continues the career of an interesting writer and filmmakers, but it'll be a diagnosis of what is a problem uniquely kind of feel like of our era, or maybe not uniquely of our era, but accelerated in our era. I think for a variety of reasons. So anyway, I'm reasonably excited for this as a piece of,
Sorkin can get a little preachy. I like his preachy.
Oliver Stone.
But
it's a certain type of writer where they try to incorporate a moral compass in what they do, which is good and bad.
It's great. I just don't think Facebook's never going to change. I mean, that's just it. I mean, there's because of how our system works, You
think Jesse Eisenberg is going to play Mark Zuckerberg again?
I would assume
Absolutely
so.
not.
You don't think so? I think he would.
I think after that came out and people connected him to Mark Zuckerberg so much that I feel like I've seen videos of people accidentally calling him Mark instead of Jesse. And I think he got really annoyed by it.
Hey, what does he have going on? What does he have going on right now? He needs this role.
I think they're making a third Now You See Me.
Oh, God. Well, there's a heist movie for you, Emily.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a heist magic movie, a.k.a. Jesse's absolute favorite. So I know he's excited about that. It's
bad when you are such a great actor that they identify you with that character. So in the Latin community, that for us is Yolanda from Selena. She started getting real death threats because they were like, you killed Selena, even though it was a movie, because these idiots don't know any different. You're you're just like pigeonholed. It's like George from Seinfeld. You're just pigeonholed there. You're such a good actor.
Yeah. And I feel like Jesse Eisenberg he hasn't done a ton, but he has done enough that it's clear he does not want to be associated with Mark Zuckerberg. So I'd be very curious. I mean, maybe he does it for the right price point. I'm sure he would, but
he'll do it.
But I mean, to work with David, I assume David Fincher would come back for it.
Oh yeah,
let's. But if you get the opportunity to work with David Fincher and Aaron Sorkin twice in your career, I feel like
with a good payday.
See, the thing is that I love Social Network. It really is one of my
I've
favorite
never even
movies.
seen the movie, by the way.
but-
Heads
It's
up.
really good.
It's so good.
You'll like it.
But Andrew Garfield was like my favorite character in it. And like, he's obviously not going to be in the sequel.
Mine was Justin
So-
Timberlake.
Mine was the Winklevi. That's
There's certain movies. I
Oh,
feel like
they're
that movie
definitely
would
not
stress
gonna be-
me out.
yeah.
He's definitely
I'm
not
talking
going to be
about
in it.
I just wanted to say Winklevi because it's the Winklevoss twins, and I feel like that's how you pronounce them as a
Like
the
octopi.
Winklevi.
Like multiple
Yeah.
octopuses
Yeah.
is octopi. Got it.
But yeah, they're definitely not going to be in it. So
All right. What do you have, Marty?
What's going on, guys? All right. So I have a really great slice that I've been really excited to share. You guys remember last year, Southwest had like a total meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was stranded. I was a part of that. I was stuck in Atlanta for 3 days.
What? Did you sleep at the
yeah, it was
airport? What'd you do?
I did.
No
What we
way.
did was, you know, those little, we were idiots. We could have drove. It's only like an 8-hour drive, but instead we were like, let's wait for Southwest because we had like, actually, we were like, let's just wait for Southwest because they kept like dragging us on. We'd wait. They changed it 3 hours. So it came 2 days. By the third day we went home. We just bought a Delta and went right home. So we bought an air mattress at, you know how they have like a sleeping store at the airport where you could take like a minute nap. It's like an hour nap.
Yeah.
Well, we bought an air mattress. We went to the international section where no one was, and we put it in the corner. We bought 2 of them. Me and Fern just knocked out and slept. And it was torturous. Well, they settled for $140 million. That's just kind of like the little
To you?
pebble for all the customers that got kind of paid out. I wish I wouldn't be here. But that pebble became an avalanche. And so today's report is that our transportation, the one who's in Biden's campaign, who's a part of transportation, Pete Buttigieg, right?
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Yeah, no one knows how to say it right.
I
Everyone
think
says it different to me.
we're all saying different names.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Pete.
I
I thought it was
thought
Pete
Pete.
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg, I heard
Buttigieg.
too. There you go.
Where's
There's
egg
3.
coming from? I've never heard that.
It's from the German origin.
German.
Pete
I don't-
Buttigieg? I've never heard the
Buttigieg.
news
just
call him that.
Buttigieg.
Slice.
Let's just refer to him for the story.
Continue
as
the
Pete.
slice.
I
Continue
thought
the
it was
slice.
Buttigieg. Buttigieg.
You might be right.
That's actually the splice is all about his name. So let's just stay right here. His freaking name is so hard to figure out. Just kidding. Well, they have come to a settlement with all these airlines, and now if you get delayed, if your plane gets canceled, no longer do you have to wait 7 to 9 days. You will be able to be paid out. You don't have to apply for this. It is now a common practice for the airliner. You get refunded within 3 hours if you are in a domestic flight, 6 hours if you're in an international flight, not to mention any extra fee. So, for instance, I was on a flight a couple weeks ago. I bought Wi-Fi. Very excited about it. The Wi-Fi didn't work, and I never got a refund for it. And I was always figuring out, who do I even email about that? I just don't know. Well, now what they're allowing you to do is any fee that you were not properly compensated for, even lost bags, within 12 hours, you will be seeing the money back. This is huge. This changes everything. So for all of us, we all fly a lot. This is going to change the game. Last year, I think everyone was just stranded. They didn't know what to do, waiting. I was reading a report. Someone had spent $3,000 for an additional flight just to get home. Those days are over, guys. And my question is, why didn't this come sooner? I just don't understand. But shout out to my boy Pete. We are now.
We can't say your name, but we do appreciate it. No,
But
I'm
PB.
excited about this because when I flew to Texas a few weeks ago, my flight was delayed by like 2.5 hours, which is not even the worst delay, but it was still annoying. And since I was there so long, I ended up like going and getting some food and drinks, which it's like $35 to get a thing of fries at the airport, which is, that's a whole other issue. But it was like, it would be nice to get a little money back so then I can go spend that at the airport while you're forcing me to wait. So it really works out for everyone. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, another really good. Well, they'll be
I don't
fine.
care about them.
But a really good.
I'm very pro corporation today for some reason. I don't know what.
Yeah, you
Why
are.
am I thinking about the poor airlines having to? No, good. Stick it to
Yeah,
them.
the poor corporate zombies, the suits.
Listen, if Bowie needs to cut a few corners to pad that stock,
You know the loser in all
didn't
this
need that door.
is
It's
Delta
fine.
shareholders. They're the ones losing right now. Anyway, yeah, I don't know.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Mayor Buttigieg. All right, well, that'll do it for Slices. Stay tuned. Up next, Gateway Worship joins us. You're listening to Wallows. The song is Bad Dream. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by Crown College, a boldly Christian and academically excellent college providing a lifelong, authentic community. Crown offers on-campus, online, and graduate programs, 18 NCAA Division III sports, international service opportunities, and a vibrant student life. Discover why Crown College is ranked top 3 in America for online Christian education. Visit crown.edu today. Well, today we're joined by Matthew Harris and Hope Adams from Gateway Worship, the worship collective from Gateway Church in Dallas. We talked to them about their new album and how they're creating new songs for the church by intentionally pouring into the next generation of worship leaders. Here's our conversation with Gateway Worship.
You guys do something really interesting at your church with the Next Gen songwriting sessions. I'm so curious, how did those sessions first get started and what's the intention behind it?
Well, so Pastor Hope actually started our songwriting cultivation kind of portion of our church, and it's one of our central ministries to really steward kind of the creativity across all of our campuses to have a central kind of touch point. And so Pastor Hope really led the initiative on that for us.
Yeah, and in 2020, so we had leadership step in. David Thompson, woohoo, shout out to David, came over to worship. And as you know, or maybe you don't know, Gateway has had years of just a culture of worship and writing songs that come out of this house, just that reflect the heart of our house. And so that's been for years. But in 2020, we wanted to get more focused and just intentional and cultivating that culture of songwriting. So we built out a songwriting department, and the sole focus was to pour into our young writers, our seasoned writers, and just partner with our worship community to make space to empower them, encourage them, teach them, and give them space to write. So yeah, that was in 2020, and we've been building thus far. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Now, when you say next generation, is that just for Gen Z or is it open to any new songwriters?
There's not exactly an age range. We want to keep it as young as possible. And some of our writers will write more for Gateway Worship. And we kind of have a lot of those more seasoned writers in these rights to be able to teach and help some of our younger writers. But what we really want to do is help kind of raise up more young writers and young creatives. And so really, if you are a younger person in our church or even just related here to our church in the Metroplex, we kind of invite everybody. It's a wide net because we expect that people are going to be learning in rights as well as contributing. And so it can go as young. I think the youngest we've had at a right I know of is, I think, 15.
Yes. Yeah,
I think 15. Yeah. And then the oldest, I mean, 70s, I think. Yeah. So either way, but it's really just a core value of our church to have generations pouring into generations.
Yes.
And so we don't miss out on that when it comes to songwriting.
I'd love to know, what are some songs that have come from those songwriting sessions that appear on the album?
Yeah, so from previous writing sessions, absolutely. So we continually, because we are continually making space for for songwriting, we continually have songs coming in and being submitted to Gateway Worship. And so, some of the songs from Chapel Session really came from our previous projects that we did live worship settings of. So our album Completely Abandoned, Crowns Down, and really what we did was out of those two projects, we pulled from them just the songs that have really resonated with our house. One of them I'm thinking about is Jesus Is My Healer. Yeah. That has been such an anthem song for us, and that is on our Chapel Sessions that's coming out. So that's been a big song for us. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think what other ones.
Crowns Down came out of a writing session.
Yep.
Really, we put together, I think at least quarterly, we have these kind of songwriting events that we host. And out of those, really Hope also oversaw a process to where we have groups that review these songs. So really the way it kind of works for us is we have a massive songwriting day. And then over the next probably 3 to 4 months, all those songs go through a process where we have groups that are kind of made out of our worship pastors, a congregation member. We like to span generations within that group as well. So we can have more seasoned ears, not older, but seasoned ears, and some younger ears in there. And then really kind of another piece, there's usually somebody who's a pastor on staff or something like that theologically to kind of give some feedback. And so those songs go from a songwriting day into that review process. And then from there, we decide songs for an album. And so it's kind of the process it goes through. So really any song that is on one of our albums goes through our whole songwriting process. And so both of those two albums are made up of songwriting days in the process.
Yeah. I think too, Emily, a handful of songs, I'm just, as Matthew was talking, I had a kind of an opportunity to think about these songs coming on the Chapel Sessions project, but definitely Jesus Is My Healer. Another song, I Need You. Another song would be Who Else? And which was co-written with Abby Gamboa. We have a version with her as well, a live worship version. And then Crowns Down, which was done with Josh Baldwin. So those I would say those top 4 or 5 songs have really resonated with our house. And so we were like, you know what, we want to do a different iteration of these songs to serve our church well. But then also we are so honored to serve churches outside of Gateway that look to us for song resources. And so we're hoping that these songs will not only be a blessing for our people in this iteration, but it would hopefully be a blessing to other churches as well.
Sure.
This review process that you're talking about is really interesting to me because I think we can all think of some worship songs that maybe needed some further review. And I'm just curious, when did you first implement that into your songwriting?
I believe that we've always had some form of a review process. But I think we just got a little bit more intentional and really zeroed in on what does that review process look like and how can we involve our worship community? What does that look like? So there's excitement and buy-in around the songs that are coming in and through our house. And to your point, you mentioned theology review. That is one of the steps of the process. I mean, a song does not move forward until we get a thumbs up from at least 3 of our pastors who are on staff, who are part of our theology review team. If we're getting a thumbs up from at least 3 of them to say, okay, theologically, these songs are sound and represent our house well. And then they go through the rest of the process. So as Matthew had mentioned, we try to be intentional and include a lot of our worship pastors because not all of our worship pastors are songwriters, but they are worship pastors, they're worship leaders. So they know, because they lead our congregation in worship week in, week out, they know the types of songs that our people will connect with, that are singable, that are memorable, all those types of things. So we involve our campus worship pastors. We involve seasoned songwriters. We involve some of our congregation members, people that just have a heart for worship. They might not understand all the technicalities of songwriting, but they just love to worship. And so we're intentional to incorporate them as well, a part of these review teams. And so, songs, we have about 5 song review teams. And so last year we had a little over 200 songs submitted to our song writing process. And so we try to do our very best to steward each song well. Now that looks different from each song. Maybe it goes through the process and it's like, you know what, in this season, we don't see a place for it in Gateway Worship. So we're going to return it back to you. But then sometimes it's a song that's like, this is a song for this season. And so it's a beautiful thing. I feel like all of our writers are just so open-handed and like want to write when coming to a songwriting event for Gateway Worship. Just want to submit their gift and their heart and say, hey, I'm going to write. I'm going to be a part of this process, and I'm going to submit my songs. And if God uses it, great. And if he doesn't, that's okay too.
Most of our songwriters, if not all of our songwriters, are involved in our local church, and we all lead worship to some degree. And so really our main focus is to write prayers for our congregations that, one, we can all gather together and sing these truths together as we gather as the church. But also, I heard it said once that people usually don't hum the 3 points of the message on their way home from church. They usually hum one of those songs you sang. And so making sure those songs are filled with the theology of our church, like a strong theology, and that we're not just putting together clever phrases for people to sing, but strong scriptural truth, because the word of God will never fade, but man's words will. And so if we want something sticky to be in the minds of our congregants, we want it to be the truth of scripture. And so we're very, very passionate about it. And it's so much fun because we partner with the Holy Spirit, the ultimate creative. And so when we get to just say like, hey, how can we take your words and configure them in a way and put sticky melodies on them so that your people can sing them again. And it's just a blast. We have a lot of fun doing it.
We do, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
That was Gateway Worship. Make sure to check out their newest album, Chapel Sessions, which drops on Friday. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's Unhinged Dating Profiles. You're listening to No Big Deal and Forrest Frank. The song is All the Time. Well, Relevant has a lot happening this year, and we don't want you to miss a thing. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter right there on the front page at relevantmagazine.com, and we'll send you our top 5 trending stories sent to your inbox every weekday. We'll also send you a weekly podcast newsletter with the latest episodes, some fan extras, and first peeks at the new shows that we're going to be rolling out throughout this year. Make sure to sign up. It's the best way to keep in touch with everything we got going on. All right, it is time for, I told you at the beginning of the show, we're doing a game called Unhinged, Hinge, the dating app, Unhinged Dating Profiles. Here's the jingle.
It's Unhinged Dating Profiles.
All right, so here's what it is. Emily alluded to the fact that it's a mess out there. These apps, it's a wild scene.
Such a nice way to put it. Yeah. It's tough. Like we're actually doing this game. This is really on behalf of all single people who have ever been asked, why are you still single? It's because of these prompts.
Yeah.
And I just need people not on the apps to understand.
Well, help us understand what a prompt like.
Yeah, so she explained this to me. So I thought you just put your profile up there and you said, "Hey, this is who I am," and people liked you or didn't. I didn't know. She said, "No, Hinge asked you questions like a survey, like my love language is blank. I recently discovered blank. I'm looking for blank," and you fill it out, and then you can scroll through people's prompts to kind of get to know how they answer these questions, right? So that's what this game is. What we did is I pulled some of Emily's actual ones that she has screenshotted because they were so cringy. So some of that. We actually then went online to like Reddit and other places where other people have posted cringy real ones. And then, so we have those real. And then I had AI write prompt responses as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you 2 prompt responses, and you're going to tell me which one is real and which one was written by AI. Got it?
Okay.
Here we go. Unhinged Dating Profiles. Jesse, you're up first. Okay. I'm going to read 2. My love language is speaking in movie quotes. My love language is English. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
Well, I don't know. The person that puts in English, I'm just gonna not even give my thoughts on that person. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say movie quotes is real. My love language is speaking in movie quotes was written by AI. The real one is my love language is English, and Emily saw that one on an app when she was.
That was a screenshot that I have.
That's definitely someone who was a part of that January 6th.
I was going to say, I think,
that was somebody who climbed and fell down off the side of the wall.
Yeah, that person is not a shareholder of a major corporation.
On the way down.
All right, that's awesome, Emily. I recently discovered that I recently discovered that I am Kenough. Or I recently discovered the true meaning of adulting when I got excited about buying a new vacuum cleaner. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
I mean, both are great answers. So hard. I do think the Knuff one is an interesting pop culture one. I don't know if AI gets pop culture references. So I'm going to go Knuff is real.
I recently discovered that I am Knuff is real. That's a real dating profile prompt that somebody put on Hinge. So
good for that person. I'd swipe right.
All right, Marty, I'm looking for a one life stand, or I'm looking for a conspiracy theorist who can debate the most outlandish theories with a straight face. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
The first one is AI because it doesn't make... I don't know, because humans can be kind of dumb. I'm going to just say the second one feels very real and could have been that same profile with the guy who spoke English only. So I'm going to say the first one's AI, the second one is real.
Okay. I am looking for a one life stand. It's an actual prompt that Emily came across and screenshotted.
One life stand.
So Emily, did you?
That one's a thinker.
Did you respond to Mr. One Life Stand? He's looking for commitment.
You know, that one I did think about it for a while, mainly because I was trying to figure out what he was trying to, what we were going with here. I do think it ultimately was a swipe left for me. Which is
it's not a good joke. It's like he tried really hard and
he tried, and that's something. The thing. It's like if you tried. That's tough. That's what you came up with.
That's why I thank God, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm glad I'm very happily married. I would, this seems like such a minefield. Like I don't even like texting back. Like I don't feel like I'm good.
I don't think you've ever texted us ever.
On his birthday. He said thanks guys when we said happy birthday, Jesse.
Because I always,
he put THX. That's it.
I always get concerned that I'm an overthinker with texting. Like I rewrite text like 5 times and it's causing me too much anxiety because it's like, I feel like pretty good at communicating in this format where I'm speaking, but every time I'm like, that's not right. No, they're going to read that wrong. That's not funny. No. This sounds like a straight up nightmare because if you try too hard, then you
get screenshotted by girls and they share it with their friends and laugh at you.
But if you don't try hard enough, you're a loser.
I want to put this out there. Not all of them are bad. These are obviously the worst of the worst. So don't think that I screenshot every single profile and send it to my friends. Just the ones that are cringe.
But
and
literally,
terrible.
she telling me about these is like, this is why I'll never go on an app ever. I don't want to be the thing that gets screenshotted and laughed at by a group of friends. You know what I mean? So anyway, here we go. Jesse, don't hate me if I order a cookie for dessert, or don't hate me if I burp. Which one is real? Which one's AI?
I don't think burp, why would you even need to go there? Like, I don't feel like bodily functions like that are needed in this. I think the cookie for dessert makes more sense.
Okay, don't hate me if I burp is the real one.
It's the AI. That's AI. Oh,
don't hate me if I burp is the real one. A real person put, don't hate me if I burp.
A real man thought, this is what's going to get me a girlfriend.
Yeah, which way is not good? Which swipe is not good? Right or left?
Left is a no.
Yeah, okay. That's a no for...
That's a left. Hard left. All right, Marty, the one thing you should know about me is I'm colorblind, so I can't see your red flags. Or the one thing you should know about me is my dog is the number one girl in my life. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
I could definitely say both of them are sad. Let's just say the second one is real and the first one's AI.
No, the first one, the thing you should know is I'm colorblind, so I can't see your red flags, is a real one that Emily saw in an app.
That was too creative. I thought that was too creative. He's trying to find his Tinderella. I get it.
My thing is, like, if you're gonna try to do the pun about colorblind red flags, make it self-deprecating. Be like, the thing you don't know about me is I hope you're colorblind so you can't see my red flags. Don't say the girls got red flags. Oh, got it.
We're the ones who make that type of humor. I was reading this article yesterday where Gen Z doesn't understand our humor. They don't get the self-deprecating stuff. So he's probably a Gen Zer. Probably like he's born 1990.
I'm colorblind, so you're good because I can't see your red flags. You're insulting the girl.
You're 100% right, Cam. You're 100% right. That kid's an idiot.
Anyway, all right, Emily, I'm looking for a UK green card because America's out of control, or I'm looking for DB Cooper. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
I feel like the green card one, because I actually feel like I've seen something like that. Like men being like, I'm trying to stay in America. I'm just looking for like a green card pass. So I'll do that is real.
No, he's saying he wants a UK green card because America's out of control. He wants to leave the US.
Oh, okay.
So you think that's the real one?
I do think that's the real one because I've seen that joke
That
before.
is the real one.
The other one I've seen. Yeah, the other one I've seen too.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse, I'll fall for you if you laugh at my jokes, especially the unfunny ones, or I'll fall for you if you trip for me. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
Well, I mean, they're both.
I'll fall for you if you trip for me. See the pun?
Written by a man.
I was going to say, aren't they both asking the same question? Like, are you going to laugh at my unfunny joke, or are you literally going to laugh at an unfunny joke? Like, this is the same prompt, just in different forms.
By saying the unfunny joke. Oh, that's funny. That's good.
I mean, this is just putting the other one to the test. I'm going to say the joke is real and the other one's AI.
I'll fall for you if you trip for me is real. That was really on a dating profile.
Yeah, but it's literally the exact same question, you know?
All right, Marty.
It's like saying, do you like Pepsi or Coke better, or me coming to you with a Pepsi and Coke? You know what I'm saying? And just handing it to you.
See which one you take. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Marty. I want someone who is a Proverbs 31 woman in the streets and a Song of Solomon woman in the sheets. Or I want someone who appreciates spontaneous adventures, especially if spontaneous means we impulsively adopt a stray cat on our way home. Which one's real and which one's AI?
I could definitely say both are sad. I'm going to say the second one is real and the first one's AI. And man, this is just...
I want someone who is a Proverbs 31 woman in the streets and a Song of Solomon woman in the sheets.
I've heard that before,
a real one that Emily came across when she was on Hinge. It's a real one.
No one's going to fall for that. Like, that's the thing. I'm just kind of like thinking these people are not setting themselves up correctly. Who's going to fall for that? Who's going to be like, this is really funny. I should date him. Like,
Emily, did you fall for that? Did you swipe right?
Absolutely not. I do remember I immediately screenshot that and immediately swiped left.
And I would have screenshot it.
Reported it to the authorities.
Yeah. I would have reported him to the Department of Homeland Security.
The screenshot is brutal, I'll be honest.
This guy's a psychopath. All right. Here we go. Emily, I'm looking for the Pam to my Jim, or I'm looking for my keys. Have you seen them? Which one's real? Which one's AI?
That's funny.
Okay, the second one's funny. Unfortunately, I know for a fact it's the Pam one because I've seen that far too many times. Men, if you're listening to this, take that off your Hinge profile. Yeah. It's not fun.
The real one is I'm looking for the Pam to my joke. AI came up with a pretty good joke. I'm looking for my keys. Have you seen them? That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Good
I
AI.
would swipe right on that.
I gotta be honest.
Funny.
I gotta be honest. I hear it and I'm like, that's a pretty low bar. Like, even for AI. I mean, come on now.
But
What are you, Ashton Kutcher?
I mean, it's
Of
better.
the prompts that we've heard.
Yeah, it's better. That's what I'm saying. It's a low bar. Yeah, it's good for this game. But I mean, this game is like the worst of the worst. It's the best of the worst we've ever heard in our lives. Constructed by artificial intelligence or real losers out there.
Jesse, here we go. Ready? Give me travel tips for my backyard, or give me travel tips for your favorite destination. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
Favorite destination's real. Gotta be.
The real one is give me travel tips for my backyard. A real guy put that on his profile.
Jesse, I can like see your face getting sadder and sadder for the men and women out there that have to face this.
It's like deflating a balloon
I'm not even
slowly.
angry at Andrew Tate anymore. Now I'm like, we need Andrew Tate now. Now I'm not even mad at him anymore.
Oh, gosh.
Wow. This is escalating rapidly.
Just kidding.
All right. Here we go, Marty. Unusual skills, : unusual skills, vehicular manslaughter, or unusual skills, can say my ABCs backwards. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
So the first one has to be real, or AI is going to kill us all.
The real one is unusual skills, vehicular manslaughter. Somebody really put that
has
on.
to be.
Put that on their dating
That's
profile.
just that type of humor that, that guy is building a bomb in his basement. I know the type of guy that is, AI is kind of like a neckbeard in this situation. You guys realize that throughout these like very neck incel vibes.
All right, let's see. Emily, believe it or not, I am emotionally available. Or believe it or not, I once accidentally joined a cult for the free cookies. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
See, based on this game, I don't think a man would put that he's emotionally available. So I'm going to go with the cookie one is real.
The real one is, believe it or not, I am emotionally available. AI wrote, believe it or not, I once accidentally joined a cult for the free cookies. So AI's cracking the jokes.
Yeah. Disturbing jokes, but jokes
no, they're kind of dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jesse, the key to my heart is honest communication, or the key to my heart is manipulation. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
I'm going to say the ironic one, manipulation.
That's one that Emily came across in real life. The key to my heart is manipulation. Emily, did you connect with that young man?
Of course. That's what I'm looking for, is a man to manipulate me.
No, he wants you to
for,
manipulate
Emily?
him. The key to his heart is you manipulating him.
Oh, that I'm actually more interested in.
Right. That's why I
Emily, what if
figured.
a guy put like Taylor Swift lyrics? Would that be like, that's a
they
good
have.
one? Oh, okay.
They have.
Because I feel like they would just try it just to
I feel
get
like that's
some type
just
of
pandering.
Yeah, pandering.
I don't think they
that's
actually
it.
are a Swiftie.
Yeah.
I can tell.
All right, Jesse, the one thing I'll never do again is attempt to impress a date by attempting a triple backflip off a diving board. Or the one thing I'll never do again is sue 23andMe as a dating app. Or the one thing I'll never do again is use 23andMe as a dating app.
Wow. Incest jokes.
Again, because the 23andMe has very dark implications, I'm going to say that's AI.
The real one is one thing I'll never do again is use 23andMe as a dating app. Somebody really put that in their.
Oh my goodness.
So what but see with that,
this is why you were excited about this, Cam.
With that one, I want to know the rest of his profile, because if he's like a weirdo, that is disturbing. If he's funny, cool, laid back, that's
Joking,
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And context
that's-
matters.
Haha.
Christian Bale and American Psycho Bateman type vibes, Yeah.
Yeah, context
I love
matters.
That. That's what I'm
He
looking
wears
for.
the small glasses that only cover the eyelid.
All right, Marty, we just got a couple more real quick. Marty, dating me is like eating a bag of Lay's chips. They aren't the best, but they'll suffice. Dating me is like being handed a mystery box. You never quite know what you're going to get. Which one's real?
I'm going to say the first one is going to be AI.
The first one is real. Somebody really wrote, dating me is like eating a bag of Lay's chips. They aren't the best.
The bar is
but it'll
lower. We're
suffice.
playing limbo over here? My goodness.
Yep, that's a real one. All right,
That's why
Jess.
This is
Everyone
such a
needs to be single.
validating game for me.
Everyone. That's why no one's getting together.
Yeah.
Just all these
They have
responses.
terrible personality.
I've been saying this for years.
Wow.
Let's see. We just went to. Okay, here we go. Emily's turn, right? Last one. Here we go. My best travel story is I accidentally got married in Greece. Or my best travel story is I accidentally boarded the wrong bus and ended up in the wrong country. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
I really want the marriage one to be real because not that I would swipe right on them, but I would swipe right solely to get the backstory and then I'd probably unmatch with him. So I'm going to go with the marriage one is real.
My best travel story is I accidentally got married in Greece is the real one. Somebody really put that on a dating profile.
And if that was you, please DM us because I want to hear the full story.
Yeah.
The second one's the plot of how that one movie where it's not Without My Daughter. Remember that old movie from the 90s where the guy took her to Saudi Arabia? That's the plot of that.
Taken?
That's a whole nother genre. Well, let's talk about that later.
That's a different type of heist movie. Different heist movie.
Give me back my son.
We should probably do this for our next question of the week on the next episode of like ask people the worst dating prompts that they've seen in the wild for real.
Yes, that's a good one.
Anyway, all right. Well, that'll do it for
Unhinged Dating Profiles.
Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Gateway Worship for joining us. Make sure to check out their new kind of stripped down acoustic project called The Chapel Sessions. It's coming out on Friday, or check out their new live album that came out last month called Crowns. And while you're checking things out on the internet, make sure to visit relevantmagazine.com every day where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, life, justice, all the good stuff. And make sure to follow us on all the socials so you don't miss a thing. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Marty.
We'll see you on Friday. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Disturbing jokes, but jokes nonetheless.
Relevant Podcast Network.